Hi BookTube, I'm here with another video in my No Shame series. So just again to let you know, I think disagreement fosters community and discussion, and that it's really good for dissent to happen within a community, and that's why I want to talk about these topics. And I also don't want you to feel guilty about reading. For one thing you should learn from reading is that you shouldn't feel guilty about doing it. So this topic is going to be about books you say you've read but you actually haven't. We all do it. Don't feel ashamed. I actually really got thinking about this because I had a student during one of my teaching practicums who came up to me at the end of our unit and said he actually hadn't read the books assigned, and I guess he was trying to get that response out of me, like, oh, bad, bad, bad. And I was like, you know what, you really got me. You really convinced me that you had read these books. You came up with some very thoughtful ideas and questions. Your essay was well written. And I said, really, if you're thinking about, and I said this to class, if you're thinking about going on to do a degree in English at university, have you seen those triangle pictures where you can choose two? You can either have a social life, sleep, or good grades, and you have to choose between, two of those. You can't have all three. That you really have to be able to talk about books that you haven't read. I know some people do read all the books that they're assigned in university, and they're probably have tons of time and can read really fast and all this stuff, but I know I didn't finish all the books that we were supposed to read in university, but I was able to talk about them. And I think that you shouldn't feel ashamed to be able to convince people that you have read these books and to still have intelligent conversations around them, despite not having actually delved into them. I think I've said it before, but I know in 12th grade, the first book that I hadn't read in my whole school career was Pride and Prejudice, and I spent 6 hours watching the BBC adaptation instead of reading it, so that I could kind of get the idea and I could talk about it. Now I have actually read it because I encountered it year after year after year in my university career, but I could convincingly at the time talk about that book and write an essay about that book without having read it. I think we should never really feel ashamed for claiming to have read books that we haven't. There's no way that we can actually read all the books that we should read. If you look at all those lists online, there are so many books that say you have to read this and this and this and that, unless you're unemployed, not going to school, and are financially well off for some reason, and you can spend all day reading and you don't need any sleep or to eat or to bathe or to get dressed or all that stuff, then maybe you can read all these books. But I don't think it's actually possible. So we shouldn't feel bad that our time is constrained, that we'd rather do something other or read something other than a book that we already kind of know of anyways. I know there are a lot of books out there that deserve to be known, books that discuss themes, ideas, or characters that are important to navigate our society. It's like those movies that you haven't seen, but you know the quotes, you know the ideas behind them, and I think it's important to know that about books as well. I think what part of being able to convincingly lie about having read a book is not intellectual. You're convincing people that you've read the book, and you're doing so in an intellectual manner, so just because you haven't read the book, you're not an intellectual. I think that's a bad thing to have. Do you really believe that intellectuals actually read everything they claim to have read, or everything that you think they should have read? And I don't think so. So I think you should just keep on lying about what you read. Who really cares? I'm just saying, I'm not saying that you shouldn't read these books. I'm saying that you shouldn't feel ashamed about not reading them. So keep on reading or not reading. Actually, keep on reading. Yeah.